Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. Our last not live class, we did some twisting, and all of a sudden it was 27 minutes into the class, and there were a whole bunch of more twists that I wanted to do. So we're just going to continue on and do some more twisting today in positions that we normally don't necessarily twist all that much. So it might feel a little bit peculiar. That's okay. Yoga is kind of a peculiar thing for the body anyway. um, Something that can be really handy today, though, is a block, right, for a little bit of extra support and to bring the floor up to your hands, particularly when we're twisting in some of the more awkward poses. It will be useful. If you don't have one, I will give you hints on things that you could do instead, or maybe you could have a wall beside you, or a coffee table, or tin can, or something that you can use. But again, if you don't have one, no big deal. Let's start seated today. You could be cross-legged, you could be on your shins, you could have your legs outstretched, you could just take a normal sort of like crisscross applesauce style of seated position. Just somewhere where you can feel at ease through the hips. So I'm sitting up on a little block, just helps release the hips a little bit more and helps me find a long spine without having to grip. Okay, gently close your eyes for a few breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh your breath away. A couple more. And then continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice how you're breathing. Are you really trying to force a long breath? If so, can you return to slightly more natural breath? Generally, when we start to observe the breath, it will slow down a little bit, but try not to force it. With every inhale, imagine your spine lengthening just a little bit more. With each exhale, a gentle softening of the front body. So you're not rigid, you're not gripping, you're just finding a little bit of length, a little bit of lift. Maybe a car alarm is going off. Just return to your breath. Last few moments here. You might even keep your eyes closed as we start to move here. Inhale, lift the heart up to the sky, little squeeze at the shoulder blades, and then exhale round through your spine. You might pull through the shoulder blades here. And then inhale, rock forward and lift through the heart. Exhale, rock back and around. So a few of these seated cat and cow undulations on your own time, on your own breath. As slow as you need to go. And then on your next inhale, come back to center. Shake it out a little bit. Bring your left fingertips to the floor. Inhale, reach the right arm up to the sky. Exhale, a little side bend to the left. So now make sure that bottom shoulder isn't creeping up to your ear. Press down and then root through the right sit bone as much as you're reaching the right fingertips away from you. So long line on the right side of the body. You might even gently press the left fingertips away from you to puff out the ribs on the right side. You might be wondering, this is not twisting. Well, sometimes it's good to get into the side body to give us more space for a twist. And then inhale, back up to center, shake it out a little bit, and then we'll reset. Right fingertips come to the earth. Inhale, lift the left arm high. Exhale, side stretch to the right. So again, root that left sit bone down as much as you're reaching the left fingertips away. Drop the right shoulder down. Spiral the upper left ribs open to the sky. One more breath here. And then inhale back to center. Shake it out a little bit. Now let's do a bit of twisting. So inhale the arms up to the sky. As you exhale, start to twist to the right, and then maybe the arms start to come down. You could bring the right fingertips behind you, pressing into the floor to really find a lot of length through the spine so you're not twisted with a rounded spine. Left hand might just come to the thigh or the knee on that right side. And then this left hip will want to sneak forwards. Can you wrap it back into line? So the twist is really through the spine and not through the hips. With every inhale, find a little bit more length. And with every exhale, maybe the twist deepens. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you just think or imagine that it is doing that. Last breath here. And then inhale. Woo, back to center, a little wiggle or shake out, and then we'll twist the opposite way. So over to the left. Left fingertips might come to the floor behind you. Right hand might come to the thigh or rest wherever it needs to. Wrap that right hip back. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, twist. This is a good way for me to check out what books I haven't read recently. Last breath here. And then inhale back to center. Oh, shake it all out. Come to hands and knees. Setting up as we normally do with knees underneath hips, toes tucked or untucked, hands nice and wide, outer shoulder width apart or wider, fingers spread wide. And then inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, round through the spine. Really press the floor away. Inhale into cow. Exhale, round into cat. So a few more of these undulations on your own time, on your own breath. Really moving however you need to. So whether that's just the really simple cat and cow, or maybe there's some other natural movement that would feel really good here. Just go where you need to go. Last couple breaths here. Okay. Come back to center. Tuck your toes, a little draw of belly button to spine. Make sure you're not rounding, but you're also not arching through the back. Hands nice and wide. Exhale, lift the hips all the way up and back. Downward facing dog. You might pedal your heels toward the floor. And of course, if down dog is not a good position for you, then feel free to stay on hands and knees and wiggle it out however you need to. Maybe you take a little forearm plank instead. Right? And that's actually a good option. If your wrists are really tender, instead of downward facing dog, you could be in dolphin, which is quite a bit more challenging, but it's gentle on the wrists at least. Okay, bend your knees, look forward. On your exhale, take as many steps as you need to come to the top edge of the mat, standing forward fold. A little wiggle or sway. Maybe you have something to bring the floor up to you today. Maybe you're taking a really gentle position with elbows on knees. You can take a little sway from side to side. Last couple breaths here. And then release your hands, bringing your fingertips to your shins, or maybe the earth. Inhale, little partway lift, belly button to spine. Exhale, let it all go. Couple more on your own time, on your own breath. You could flutter through your lips or sigh. And then bend your knees, head heavy, arms heavy, slowly. Start to roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time, looking down at the floor the entire time, or at your body even. So eventually you come all the way up. Couple loops of the shoulders up, back and down. Little wiggle or release. Okay. Hug the legs toward each other. Tailbone there slightly, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on your back. On your inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive or fold down to the earth. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, step your right leg back for warrior one. So the entire sole of the foot comes to the floor. That back heel can be on whatever angle it needs to be on, so that you can really start to wrap the right hip forward, draw the left hip back. Okay, pause here. Come up onto fingertips on blocks. Make sure there's hip width between the feet. Reach the left arm forward and up. And then the right arm, drive through the front heel, come all the way up to warrior one. So the foundation is set. If you need to reset your position, that's fine. Really wrap the right hip forward, draw the left hip back, supercharge that back leg towards straight, squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh. Maybe you can de-weight the big toe on the back foot so that you're not rolling into the arch of the foot. And then bring your arms in front of you. Imagine you're holding like a grapefruit or a child's ball in the palms of the hands. Inhale here, exhale, twist to the left. And then inhale back to center. This time exhale, twist to the right. And then center. So we're going to move a couple more times to each side. Try to keep the hips still as you twist, because they're going to want to come with you on the twists. Just try to keep them square. Last time to the right and center, and then bring your arms to cactus. Lean forward on a long line. Inhale, lift through the sides of the body. Exhale, twist. So we're not coming down, elbow to knee. Keep driving through the front heel. Lift those elbows up high. So hovering, twisted, warrior one. And then inhale back to center. Okay, straighten through that front leg. Maybe arms overhead as you exhale, swan dive forward. Working toward both legs straight in pyramid pose. So you might step the back foot up or a little bit wider from where you are. This is a really great place to bring something underneath your hands, particularly if the floor feels really far away. In theory, at least we are working towards both legs straight, but not locked out. So there's still buoyancy on the knees. Wrap the right hip forward, draw the left hip back. A few more breaths here. Maybe you hover the hands and take it into more of a strength variation and not a stretch. Go where you need to go. Okay. Hug the legs toward each other. Really think of driving through that front heel. Inhale, come all the way up. Okay, hinge the hips back. And exhale, come down. Hover here, pause here. Bring right hands to the floor or to a block or something inside that left foot. Wrap the shoulder onto the back. Inhale. And exhale, twist. So revolved triangle pose. Maybe the left arm reaches up to the sky. Really wrap that louder left hip back. Maybe you're hovering. You can bring a hand to the calf or a thigh. Go wherever you need to go, whatever height works for you. And then slowly, come back to center, step to your standing forward fold. Whew, that was a lot of work on that left leg. A little wiggle, a little sway. Also a lot of work for the obliques. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Okay, on your inhale, step your left leg back for warrior one. So again, that back heel can be on whatever angle it needs to be on. Just try to maintain hip width between the feet. Start to wrap that left hip forward, draw the right hip back, supercharge your back leg towards straight. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh. And then maybe you reach the right arm forward and up, and then the left, and then drive through the front heel, come all the way up to warrior one. Chill out on the shrug muscles a little bit. Supercharge that back leg towards straight. Can you de-weight the big toe on the back foot? And then bring your arms in front of you, finding that grapefruit or pomelo. Inhale here, exhale, twist to the right. And then back to center, and then open to the left. And center. So a few more of these twists. Keep moving with your breath, right? We're working the obliques in this direction, working the obliques in this direction, right? There's 2 sets, depending on how you want to twist your body. Next time you come back to center, pause there. Bring your arms to cactus, work that back leg, lean forward on a long line from your heel to the crown of your head. Inhale here, exhale, twist to the right. Keep it hovering. Elbows lift. Keep wrapping that outer right hip back. Sink into the front knee. Supercharge the back leg towards straight. One more breath here. And then inhale back to center. Gently straighten through that front leg. And then exhale, swan dive forward, working toward both legs straight in pyramid. So again, you might adjust the back foot up or wider, right? You might be here in your pyramid pose if that means that you can get the legs straight-ish. Right? You don't have to be as far back as I am. Totally depends on how long you've been doing yoga, how the ratio of your bone and muscle lengths. Keep wrapping that left hip forward. Draw the right hip back. Make sure there's buoyancy in those knees. Maybe the fingers are on the earth or hovering. Maybe you have blocks underneath the hands. Couple more breaths here. Okay, belly run to spine. Drive through the front heel. Inhale, come all the way up. Little wiggle if you want. And then wrap that left hip forward. Draw the right hip back. Hinge at the hips and the sit bones back. Belly bend to spine. Pause here. Inhale here. Exhale, twist. Maybe you're hovering it out. Maybe you have a block or something that you can bring underneath that left hand on the inside of the right foot. Maybe the right arm reaches up to the sky, right, for revolved triangle. Keep wrapping the left hip forward. Draw the right hip back. Lots and lots of work on that right leg. One more breath here. And then slowly unwind. Bend the back knee. Step to the top edge of your mat. Standing forward fold. Whew. Little wiggle. First way. Or bounce. Let's take 3 partway lifts. So inhale. Lift up, exhale, let it all go. 2 more. Okay, bend your knees, plant your hands, step back, hands and knees. Whew, a little wiggle. Reset the spine. From here, some of you might just walk the knees back a little bit, shift the hips forward into plank from your knees. Some of you might choose to tuck the toes, lift the knees off the floor, plank from the toes, wherever you are. 2 more breaths. And on your next exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. You can always come down to your knees first. Little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, so much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Send your tailbone to the back wall. Feel your belly button engage toward your spine. Wrap your shoulders onto your back. Inhale, lift the heart forward and up, baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down. couple more of these on your own time. On your own breath, hands could hover or press into the floor. And then on your next exhale, release all the way down. You might bring one cheek to the floor. Take some deep belly breaths to release into your lower back. And then slowly come back to center. Get everything active again. So legs active, tailbone to the back wall, belly button to spine. Wrap your shoulder blades onto your back. Reach your arms back along beside you, palms up or down. And then inhale, lift the heart forward and up. Okay, so now locust pose. Wrap the shoulders onto the back. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might think of reaching the legs so far back that they do weight as well. Keep the back of the neck long so you're looking down rather than forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades toward each other. Inhale, lift everything up a little bit higher. And exhale, release down. Opposite cheek to the earth, just to balance out your neck. Okay, and then come back to center. We're going to come into our twist from the belly today. Now, if you know that this is not a good way for you to get into the big spinal twist, then roll onto your back and do a really gentle twist. Otherwise, join me here. It's a little bit awkward to get into. Bend your right knee so that the knee comes up almost in line with your hip. And then press the right hand into the floor to lift your body up enough that you can thread your left arm underneath the right. And then slowly, pressing the right hand into the floor, open yourself up to the sky. So this left shoulder blade is most definitely going to be hovering off the floor unless you've got fantastic spinal rotation, because your right knee is likely on the floor. And that's fine, right? We're working the twist in a way where the hips are pinned. So it might feel a little bit more intense. If it's too much, by all means, please go somewhere that's more comfortable, where you can be at ease. I like this variation sometimes because I feel I also get a really nice opening through the chest and across the shoulder. One more breath here. Okay, slowly start to unwind so that left arm, or sorry, right arm comes all the way back to the floor, and then press up enough that you can unwind the left arm, and then back to center. Maybe bend the knees, take a little windshield wiper of the legs. Okay, let's do all that on the opposite side. So bend the left knee or leg or hip so that the knee is more or less in line with the hip. Press the left hand into the floor to lift up enough that you can thread the right arm underneath. Maybe shimmy the shoulder a little bit farther and then slowly start to unwind the opposite direction. Unwind. I guess it's not unwinding, it's in fact winding up. Maybe that left arm reaches out to the right. Right, and maybe it doesn't feel as good from one side to the other. Maybe you need to adjust the angle of the bottom leg or the top leg. The lower down that knee is, the less intense the twist will be than if it's up high, but you also might not have as big of an anchor. Again, that right shoulder blade, or left, I don't know, the top one is hovering off the floor. A few more breaths here. And then slowly, slowly, slowly start to now unwind, reversing the movement. Press into the floor enough that you can unwind that right arm, then come back to your belly. Bend the knees, little windshield wiper of the legs, or anything else that feels good to release here. Maybe some deep belly breaths to release into the low back. Okay, slowly make your way onto your back. Whether you come up and roll down or just roll over. Once you're down, hug your knees into your chest. And let's get a really nice release for the low back here. After that relatively deep twist, it might feel pleasant just to have any compression that might have happened just released. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might start to curl your nose toward your knees. Maybe you start to press your shins up to the sky, getting that deep, deep flexion. And then slowly release back down to the floor. Release your feet to the floor. Take the mat width apart. Little windshield wiper of the sides here too. And then we did a lot of glute work, so let's end with a figure four stretch. So cross your right ankle over top of the left thigh. This might be enough for you. Maybe you start to de-weight that left leg. You could just use the muscles of your core if you wish. You might choose to interlace your hands behind the left thigh or over top of the left shin. Make sure there's a nice flex on this right ankle though, so that you're not unintentionally sickling that joint. Try to keep the tension out of the neck and shoulders though. Hopefully that feels like a nice release for you on the outer right hip. Okay, nice is a bit of a subjective word, but hopefully you know what I mean. Last breath here. And slowly release your legs, shake them out a little bit, and then we'll switch sides. So left ankle crosses over top of the right thigh. Maybe you stay there, maybe draw the legs towards you. If you have a strap, that can be a really nice place to use it behind the thigh on the behind the right thigh. Rather, nice flex on that left ankle. Lots of space between the shoulders and the ears. Last breath here. And then slowly unwind, shake it out, hug both knees to your chest, little rock from side to side. And then think about where you would like to go for your rest today. Could be flat on your back, legs bent or straight. You could rest on your side or in child's pose, might feel really nice after all that twisting, or in a seated meditation. And there's certainly no rush to find your pose of rest. But once you're there for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose, exhale, sigh, your breath away. 2 more. And then let go of all breath control. Let go of any last muscle gripping or tension, particularly in your face or your jaw. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.